everybody, and welcome to another episode of Three Dads and a Console. We know not every dad can stay up to date on the latest and greatest and video game news that you need to know about, so we are here to do it for you. Remember, this show is kid-friendly, so no earmuffs are needed. Now on with the show, I am one of your hosts, Wobble Plates, alongside Daddy Magic Pez.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Use coupon code DaddyMagic to get 50% off. 50% off what? Nobody knows.
We don't have a
We don't know. We don't know. Maybe it's at Fanatics. Maybe it's at like gfuel.com. Maybe it's at like DHgate. Maybe it's at AliExpress. We don't know. But
maybe
go
it's
try
at your local Wendy's.
Yeah, maybe try it in your Wendy's app. Daddy Magic. Maybe you'll get free nugs. I don't know. But coupon code Daddy Magic. Figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Figure it out. So Court's at the game, which is why this is the what is it? Blue Jays.
Yeah, he's at the Blue Jays. He's at the,
which is why we're already off the rails.
Which is the Blue Jays won, I believe.
Did they?
I think so. Let me check. You know what? Let me check real quick. And as I do, let's have a little discussion here about baseball. I believe they need to bring back steroids. Counterpoint, Wob.
Well, of course.
Oh, they lost 6-4.
Oh, bad luck.
Get wrecked.
Those were the days. That's actually when I used to watch. You know, all those so we'll talk baseball all the time, and I'll reference players that they haven't played in like 15 years. I was like, oh yeah, like Orlando Cabrera. They're like, what is your frame of reference?
Orlando Cabrera, the least steroided person on that Red Sox team, is the guy you bring up. You might as well just bring up Pokey Reese. Orlando Cabrera, Pokey Reese.
I remember I used to go see Jurassic Carl Everett. Dude didn't believe in evolution.
Carl Everett, man, what an absolute animal that dude was. I'll never forget when he sidekicked that catcher right in the chest.
Dude, those are the days. I wish you knew you were in the good times before they are gone.
Oh, gone. What a blessed time to be a Red Sox fan. Absolutely dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. Actually, it was great. I have very, very fond memories of my wife and I going to games at Fenway, but man, going now is just such a horrible experience unless it's on the dime of the certain charity that we do work for.
That was fun though, because it was cool to go. I think it's more an event to go with people
100%
and enjoy. It's like you enjoy the game while you're hanging out with your buds.
Yep.
I think if you go to see the on-field product,
no. People now,
but they're winning though. What's happening?
People now go to listen to Sweet Caroline, get $15 sausage, pepper, and onions, and then get ridiculed on the train ride home.
Did you? And I know you saw it. That like degenerate looking hot dog that was it your Pirates serving up?
So the Pirates. Okay, we had a whole stream about this the last time I streamed in 2006. The Pirates are doing a pot roast and potato pierogi hot dog with pickles on it. Then the Orioles were doing like some insane pizza dog thing. Looks absolutely dreadfully heart-stopping, and I would love to try it.
Can you make that a Jimmy Fund goal? I know you're gonna have a few, but like, what if you recreated that?
The Jimmy Fund goal. Well, the Jimmy Fund punishment is like every $500 we're doing hot dog eclairs.
Dude, get out of here!
I would not lie to you.
Oh God,
it's gonna be amazing. We got the idea of hot dog eclairs from Chopped. So on Chopped, they had to use hot dog eclairs as one of their things. It was great.
Every day we stray further from God's light. But we have some fun things to talk about. Hasn't been an action-packed week in terms of
Can I interrupt you for
news?
1 minute? Ladies and gentlemen, the Warehouse Dog, 12-inch hot dog with horseradish infused brick sauce. No idea what that is.
What is that?
I don't know what that is. Don't know what brick sauce is. Sounds disgusting. Would. Pit beef queso fundido. Pickled pico and onions on a pretzel bun. Would.
Aren't the Marlins too doing like all you can eat seats for $54?
I don't know. Did you know that the A's, the Oakland Athletics, soon to be the Sacramento Athletics, soon to be the Las Vegas Athletics, have something called the Diamond Club. So the Diamond Club is $300 for seats with it's behind home plate. All you can, like, all inclusive, all you can eat, all you can drink. We went through again on this baseball stream that was supposed to be a Madden stream, and we just ended up talking about baseball for like two and a half hours. They had some of the most gourmet sounding stuff. Mac and cheese fritters in like with like a tomato, there's like a tomato soup, like a thick tomato soup. Mac and cheese fritters, and it was like, it wasn't just like ball food, it was like real food. And it wasn't just like, oh, hot dogs and chips. It was like, no, it was like all you can eat, chicken wings, mac and cheese fritters. Like, obviously there was some pizza and like popcorn and stuff, but it seemed for 300, and because that's also part of the baseball game, I would do it. I would do it.
So speaking about going out, I was telling you this before stream, but I want to save your guess until stream. So I recently went out to a restaurant in the financial district of Hartford with people I work with. And let's say about, $20 meals. What do you think I ordered?
Okay. My initial guess pre-show was chicken fingers and french fries. You said no.
Well, because they didn't have them.
Because they didn't have them. That is Wabba's go-to. Chicken fingers, french fries. Calls chicken fingers nuggies very much irritates me. Because nuggies are small, and these were hand-sized. These were like hand-sized chicken. These were like these were like little breaded chickens. That
my tender, I can call it what I want.
Anyway, I would then say it was like a roasted chicken and white rice.
That's too fancy.
What, really?
I'm talking
just like a chicken breast and fried rice. Not fried rice.
That's typically what rice. I do. That's what I do typically.
What
Hamburger. No cheese. I said no aioli sauce. Just give me lettuce, cooked, well done, with fries. They put pickles on my plate. Didn't touch them.
Did they ask you to leave?
No, they asked me to pay.
Please leave.
I did ask where the bathroom was, and they sent me outside of the restaurant, which was weird. But
no condiments on your burger of choice.
Oh no, ketchup. Come on.
Okay,
but that's standard.
All right, so there's some normalcy within you to at least put ketchup on your burger. No mustard,
nothing else.
You actually would strike me, and I don't know why, because your taste is so plain Jane, but you would like randomly strike me as a spicy mustard guy.
What I sometimes do, I'm a big barbecue sauce fan, and I will put that on anything. Like, I got some barbecue sauce from like Kansas City. That's really good.
Like real, and I'll put barbecue sauce,
like the juice, and I'll put that on burgers. I'll put that on like chicken. I'll put that on like toast. I don't even care.
Put that in your hair if you're having a bad day.
that add a shampoo, lather up.
Yep, there you go. Just a little bit.
But so, I can't imagine what the fallout from that would be.
Oh, I mean, it was good, man. It was good. It was good.
So one of the big things we want to talk about is Fallout. Not just the show, and no spoilies. So don't worry, we're not going to talk about spoilers. Just general impressions. Pez has seen a few episodes. I finished the last one during my lunch break today because I haven't been able to stop. And we want to talk about the games a little bit because there's been like this cool resurgence, especially with the newer games. But let's talk about the show first. You're 2 episodes in. Again, no spoilies. What are your thoughts and kind of big takeaways from it so far?
So as a Fallout lover, I immediately jumped in. As someone with a spouse who does not like video games, she was hooked right from the first one. She was hooked.
I'm hearing that a lot.
Well, I think they did a good job. So they set up the world. You actually get to see in the first scene, you actually get to see like the world before the bombs dropped, and it sets up this like tone of a futuristic 1950s for those that haven't played Fallout. And the acting is good. The Ella Purnell, I think her name is the woman that plays Lucy, who's the main character. She is excellent. This like, for those that don't know and follow, like the vault dwellers, so the bombs dropped and people went into a vault and then they procreated, and like this takes place like 200 years after the bombs drop, which is like what most Fallout games do. There's like a passage of time, time passes, if you will, and she like her she's very naive about things, and because she hasn't experienced it, and it's just great to see. Walt Goggins, who plays a ghoul, is amazing. I don't like the kid that plays Maximus,
Oh, you don't? Oh,
but
thought he
I
was
don't
great.
know enough about him yet. I'm only in the second episode.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
The one thing I would like to caution parents out there is this is not a kid-friendly show. A fun story, if you will. If you will
Uh-oh.
allow me to engage for a minute.
The floor is yours.
My wife is a terrible character when it comes to seeing if kids can watch TV shows.
Oh,
Like,
no.
because my kids are at the age where it's like, what can they watch? What can't they watch? Like my 12-year-old has watched Scream. Like she's watched all the Scream movies. She loves them. Doesn't have nightmares. Like, fine. She's gonna be 13 in a couple months. Like, whatever. So she's comes downstairs and she's like, "What are you guys watching?" And I was like, "Oh, we're watching Fallout. It's not for you." And my wife's like, "Oh, I think it'd be fine. It's just a little violent." And I was like, "No, it's like overly violent. But hey, if you think it's okay, I was like, if you think it's okay, honey, go for it." 2 seconds later, so in the scene, guy in power armor breaks up these two dudes fighting. Right. In the guy goes, "Hey, thanks for breaking up the fight or whatever." That guy made love to my chickens, but he didn't say that.
Yeah.
And so then my wife was like, "Okay, maybe not." And I turned to my 12-year-old and I was like, "I want you to know that guy made love to chickens, and your mom thinks it's okay to watch this." And then the three of us got a good laugh, and then we changed it to like Big Bang Theory or Friends or something like that.
Fair.
Some like comedy show that she finds hilarious.
Comedy.
So yeah. But as a Fallout fan, I have very much enjoyed it. We haven't had the time yet to go finish it. Usually Thursday nights and Saturday nights are like date nights. So we'll probably watch more of it tomorrow night and see where it goes. But I'm really excited. I think they did a great job. A lot of people are praising this show. There are some nerds online being chuds that are like, "Oh, it's ruining the canon, blah blah blah." Like, who cares? Who cares?
Yeah.
But I liked it.
It
Robert,
impacts the canon.
as a Fallout fan, what do you think?
So I have Platinum 3, 4, and New Vegas. So I'm in it to win it. I remember I got 3. Well, I'll talk about like video games later, but I got it in college. And I'm old now, so maybe that was a while ago. But that's where I started. I didn't play the first 2. I think the show's great. I think it's terrific. It hooked me right away. Because it's always like a sense. I think they got the tone of everything right. Now, let me explain, like the impending sense of dread. So like if you know the stories, if you've played the games, you understand there's going to be something happening and you just don't know when or how. And if you don't, you are surprised. And you immediately understand how this world works. This game is very clear with the tone. There are a lot of good quotes that basically allude to, you have to basically be tough and do things that you may not want to do because that's the only way you're going to get through these things. And if you're a fan of the games, I understand the criticism that they're impacting the lore, which they are. Though they don't impact what your game experiences are because this takes place after all the games. But or do they? I forget exactly when, but it doesn't. I mean, it takes place like it's whatever. But it takes place like alongside things, so. Yeah. It doesn't impact your enjoyment or your experience. It's not like in Star Wars where they're like, "Oh, well, we're gonna make this happen from this character you knew." Like they were basically like changing it on the fly. But these guys have a very defined beginning, ending. They've got, the three main characters that, you get to experience. See different, the story from, different points of view. Mainly it's from the Vault Dweller. And it just
Lucy.
feels like a game. Lucy's super British, by the way. Did you know that she's like
Yeah. I
I
feel like
saw an interview.
in the acting world, that is pretty much on par. Like Brits can do a good American accent, but Americans can't do a good. Oi,
No,
we can't do a good British accent, can we?
Oi, Giza. It just sounds super ignorant.
Oh, I love little bird. Come here, little bird. Let me talk.
Because we spent the past 300 years making fun of it, so now it's just ingrained in us not to be able to do it.
We can't do it. We can't do
No.
it. We can't do it. Other way around, easy peasy.
Easy peasy. It's because we don't speak eloquently. That's why.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anyone who's listened to this podcast knows that. At least one of us can't speak like a normal person.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's great, and it feels like a game. Like the way that things wrap up, the way the story progresses, there are some conveniences for the sake of moving things along, which honestly it's fine. And also too, like you get to see kind of like there's a lot of different Easter eggs in there if you're fans of the game, but like there's times where like a decision they make will have an impact later on. And I'm not saying like, oh, like the end game. It's just a silly little thing that they did that has another silly little like callback.
Right.
And that's very funny to me. And it does feel very video gamey. Like there's things people say, and it's like, damn, you just failed a speech check. Like you're like, oh, you want to do that? Like they got it. And if you just go in there, like, I don't know, don't be super critical. You're gonna enjoy it. I don't take like media like that very critically.
Right.
And I think it's great. It's so my wife, we watched like the first 1.5 together, then she fell asleep, and I basically said, all right, I'm doing it live. So I'm gonna go back and be able to watch it with her. And what I love is that she's like asking questions about it. Like she's like, oh, is this character in the game? No. I'm like, but she's like, interested. They did power armor really cool.
Yeah.
Which is also neat. Like in the games, it feels like it's everywhere, but here it's like, no, like you run into one of those guys, like that's not small potatoes.
Yeah, and they will ruin your day. You will not be having a good day.
And the casting I thought was very good. There's some people that were in it that like surprised me. There's other people like you recognize, but there's nobody like outside of like some of like the main actors who've like, you see in the first episode that like stand out and you're like, oh, I can't imagine this is a character because it's that person.
Right.
And I think they do that really well. They pick people that you might recognize, but it's like it's not overbearing enough where like, oh, it's Keanu Reeves in this role. He's not in it, by the way, but I think it's great.
You know who is the kid that played Rico in Hannah Montana? So I don't know if you've ever actually watched Hannah Montana. My oldest daughter loved it growing up, and there was a character named Rico who was like a saucy little sarcastic latchkey kid, I guess you would say. And he plays Lucy's brother in this show.
Okay.
And right away, my wife was like, is that Rico from Hannah Montana? And what is this a couple thing where like you're sitting there, you're watching something, and then one person goes, is that so? Like, where have I seen that person before? And you both immediately go to IMDb and just like start looking up the cast and what they've been on and all this stuff. Cause the wife and I do it all the time. And we did it with Rico / I don't remember his name, Norm or something like that. It was something like that.
Something like that. My wife just knows. She's very good at like TV and movies and knowing like who's in what.
She's smart.
And me, I usually don't like to see who's in something because I don't want to be spoiled. If I know someone's name, but she'll buy these like weird books,
Tiger Beat.
Everyone's buying weird books right now, and she'll read the end first.
Gotcha.
And then she'll see how they get there. She doesn't care. She's more about the.
She's about the adventure.
Exactly. I'm not. I take my brain, I put it on the side, and then I consume media.
Consume. That's it. That's all. It's just consume. Speaking of consuming, it seems a lot of people are consuming the Fallout games once again.
That's right.
Have you revisited, or have you watching the show? Have you had the urge to revisit either the Capitol, the Commonwealth, maybe West Virginia, maybe New Vegas?
I have.
Talk to me.
Actually. So 3 I wouldn't revisit 3 because old game's old, but I see on PC you can get it with like upres. So like I feel like that's the way to play. So I'm not gonna be playing it just because that's not how I play. I have been thinking about getting I loved 4, but I played it a lot. I might do that, but I never played 76. Now 76 takes place, I believe, the closest to the nuclear war. And that's all about Reclamation Day. And if you're saying I've literally never played the game. I watched the opening cutscene and read about it a little bit. So that's like when everything's like new.
Yeah. Yes.
I did not play it. I remember being legitimately despondent and dejected when I learned that it was a multiplayer game because that's not what I want. And I was like mad about it, which I shouldn't be. I don't like get that way. I didn't like go on Twitter and like complain. Maybe I did. I don't know. But now, and they've made a lot of progress in this game. Like they put a lot of time, love, and energy, and people like this game actually kind of slaps. I might get that. And because I haven't experienced it before, and I'm not going to play a whole bunch. I'm not going to be putting 80 hours in it like I did the games, but it might be fun to check out for a weekend or something like that.
There is a few things. So I played all of them outside of 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about all the Bethesda ones, played them all, including Fallout Shelter on the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, that was so good.
That was good. That was way better than it had any right to be.
Mm-hmm.
Truly, as like a mobile game, it was very enjoyable. So I also hated 76. Hated it. My friend bought 4 copies of it and gave it to all of us, and we played it on a Friday night and went, never playing it again. He loves it. I hated it. It was a horrible barren wasteland where like Bethesda wanted you to be the NPC. So you and your nerd friends were NPCs with other nerds, but humans don't play that way. Like humans don't role play in Fallout. They just go be the vault dweller, but now in a little gaggle of people. But again, give Bethesda credit. They put in NPCs. They put in an actual storyline that makes sense. Because initially it was just like, go get these holotapes and listen to the overseer talk to you about holotapes. And don't you love holotapes? And you go, the second mission is like, go to the first responders church, and you walk in and there's no humans. It's just like Mr. Handies or whatever they're called everywhere. And it's like, this is stupid. I don't like this because, XQC Fallout Boy XX isn't going to stand behind the counter and be like, welcome to the first responders. He's going to try to shoot you in the face and take your stuff because like, that's what humans do when they play. They grief. But now it's actually very playable. They have a lot of stuff. If you want to go check out what The Pit is, which is one of the expansions, 3 Dads on a Console, we had a little like hour review in progress where I played it. Shout out to Bethesda for that. And Fallout 76 is a lot better than it was. You still run into the problem, and you'll find it as a new player that all the new players have the same mission. So you're all just like herds of cats running to the same waypoint. And then they run to the same waypoint, and then they run to the same waypoint. And it's like a bunch of herds of cats coming out of Vault 76. But then like, I don't know, the 100 to 200 level guy comes out of nowhere and just wipes mobs down. And you're like, okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So like you kind of lose that urgency because there's, a server of 24 people. And if you have a bunch of first timers, you're all going to do the same thing. You're all doing the same thing at the same time. And it's like, yeah, this is cool, but like, I also don't want to do this. What was really crappy of Bethesda was the Fallout First thing that they have. So Fallout First is basically like their paid live service where you pay monthly or annually, and then that's how you get private servers and more stash and more stuff. So it's still the building mechanics and the absolute horrible weights and stashes of Fallout 4, but now it's across multiplayer.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's, again, I think for a weekend, you'd have a great time.
Yeah, and it's free right now on PlayStation Plus. I just downloaded it, and it's like on a sale right now for $8 too.
Mm-hmm.
You want to keep it forever, so like I think it's cool how they're coinciding. I don't know what it is on Xbox or whatever, but like, yeah, I'm gonna try. Like now, I'm gonna try it out. I don't have to pay for it.
Xbox, I think they might be on Game Pass. All of them.
I think it would be, especially Xbox.
Yeah, I think they're all on Game Pass, and I think if you play on PC like a normal person, it's on. I can't say all this without court hair. It is part of Amazon Prime right now, like Prime Gaming.
Oh
You
yeah,
can get it for free, and
yeah,
I
they're
think
just trying
that
to
is
get people on
almost.
it.
I think that's almost out, almost up. And shout out to Bethesda for dumping the Bethesda launcher, which was such garbage, and actually moving their games to Steam. That's another big thing that they with Fallout 76. It was like you can only get it with the Bethesda launcher, and people were like, "Nah, I'm
No,
good. I'm good."
Yeah, I remember seeing the like the intro, and they're going through its reclamation day. It's so exciting, and then it's like multiplayer. I was like, come on, man.
Like the opening is great because it's just you in this vault, and you're making the person, and you're like, I'm ready. No one's there, and where is everybody? And you're ready to like go do your thing. And then you step out of the vault, and there's like all these other vault dwellers right around the rim of it. The opening, and you're like,
Yeah, classic MMO though.
Where
like,
did you
know.
all come from? Like, you guys weren't here with me. Where did you? And then you all scatter like cockroaches when you turn the light on. Just scatter out into the West Virginia.
One weird criticism about the show I heard is people were upset that they released it all at once. So like, and I think it's because they like being able to talk about it, like each week and like what's gonna happen next, which is fair. But like, just watch it at your pace.
You know what? I don't subscribe to that kind of chatter because that's the same people where if they did it weekly would be like, we should get it all at once so I can watch it a weekend and me and my friends can talk about it. So you know what?
Yeah,
Too bad.
Rocks.
Yeah. Take rocks, kick them as far as you can into your own car.
I am excited though. This show has been profitable for me. I bought when it was announced in 2015, and I know this because I had the original packing slip. When it was announced at E3 that Fallout 4 was going to take place in Boston, I bought one copy from GameStop, collector's edition Pip-Boy, and one from Best Buy. It was like $125 each. Why did I do that? Because in 2011, when New Vegas came out, again, I know this because I had pre-ordered the New Vegas collector's edition. It was like the $80 version.
Is that the one with the messenger bag?
No, it was the one below. It had the comic, it had the chips, the deck, and I have all that unopened. So they sold my effing copy.
To me specifically.
They sold it to someone who walked in when I had paid for it and pre-ordered it.
That's crazy. Truly, like what's the point?
That's how it used to be. You know what I mean? It, like
such lawlessness.
They didn't care.
Such lawlessness.
Like you can't do that now. I mean, God forbid, that's why we don't pre-order games from you anymore. Best Buy. But like they did
DVDs,
that.
Jerks.
So my wife, we were, had been together for like a year at that point, but I'd known her for a while. She went to every Best Buy she could in the area, and eventually she ended up in it was like Dartmouth.
Oh my God.
To buy me one.
Goodness.
Or something like that. It was not close.
You should have wiped her that day.
I thanked her by ignoring her to play the video game.
You were like, oh my God, this is so great that you spent your whole day doing this. I love you so much. I'll see you Monday.
See you later.
Because I'm gonna go play New Vegas. There's change. There's change on the dresser if you want to get a pizza. If you don't, I don't care. Don't talk to me. I'll see you Monday.
Yeah, so I was kind of an idiot, but that's why I bought.
Well, you were a nice young man. That's all. We're just innocent young men.
We're just innocent.
Young men. We don't know any better.
Oh, that's so
we don't know any better.
I bought two to hedge. Oh no, so I bought two to hedge, and they both came. So I sat on the second one for what is it now? Almost 8 years.
Yeah.
And I finally sold it to someone. I had it listed $250. So someone is gonna enjoy that. He's super appreciative. We worked a little bit on the price, and he reached out and he's like, hey, thank you very much. Like, I appreciate it. I'm like, no problem. I told him the story. Then he's like, I'm never gonna open it. I'm like, perfect.
Very kind of him. Very kind of him to reach out.
It's gonna stay in the vault.
Ooh. You know what didn't stay in the vault?
Uh-oh.
New Vegas. Because I re-downloaded it on PC. I modded the bejesus out of it. And it is as good as I remember, but man, I forgot how slow it starts.
Oh no.
Like I was just like, you plod along, you wake up, you're talking to the ghoul doctor guy or whatever, and it's just like, man, I just want to get into the action. But I forgot how bad the controls of old, like after playing 4, you forget how archaic the controls feel, to the point where like you have to mod in like sprinting. Like sprinting really wasn't a thing.
No way.
Yeah, so like from what I remember, like I don't know, I downloaded a sprinting mod, and the game looks great with the texture upgrades. Again, old game old, so it's still looks like an old game, but just a blast. And I've always subscribed to a theory, and Steve Vigvari has asked people like what their favorite Fallout is, and I said to him, I was like, I think it's whatever Fallout you play first. And it's kind of the same, and this might just be a Pezzy boy thing, but I also subscribe that to Persona, because people talk about a lot about what their favorite Persona is, and they'll be like, well, I liked 5, but I really liked 4. And I'm like, which one did you play first? They're like, oh, I played 4 first. I'm like, yeah. I think it's like because it's so new that you really like get attached to the world and the character or the characters in terms of Persona, and like it leaves an impression on you, and you're like, that's why this one's my favorite. Like Fallout 3 is my favorite. It's the first one I played. The reveal of like Mad Dog is like mind blowing, and you're like, oh my god, I get to like the whole like what were they, the snakes or whatever, the one-eyed snakes
rule,
the one-eyed snakes or whatever they were down there, and then like the whole vault scene, and then like you have the you go to Megaton, and it's like, do I blow this whole place up or do I save it? And it's like, wow, this is like mind-blowing stuff. And then I subscribe that someone's favorite Fallout is their first Fallout. And it might not be true. But I feel like for the most part, it's one of those games that leaves an impression on you and you don't shake it. And a lot of people won't go back to like their first one because it's old. So it's now the nostalgia is just like rolling through, and you're like, I remember how great this game looked and how great this game played. The story was so good, and you just never go back to it.
I think so. 3 was the first one I played, but I played it when I didn't like get video games. Like I had a PS3, like I played GTA, Call of Duty. You know what I mean? Like this was one of the first games I picked up for $10 on like a sale, and I loved it. I'm not saying it's not good, but I feel like I didn't play a lot of games like that, especially first person. I know it's third, but everyone played it. Like first person, like RPGs like that are so deep and layered. Like I feel like I appreciate it more now the older I get than when I did at the time. But I can tell you, between class, if I had half an hour, I literally just spent that time walking around like Megaton, like and just doing stuff. Yeah. Like I spent so much time in these small areas, and like I've never like with this series, like I've never been lost in the world like that. Like New Vegas is my favorite because I love the different factions, and I love the NCR, dude. That the 2-headed bear logo, man, it slaps so hard.
Iconic.
It's so good. Long live the bear. But I love it, and I thought that was so cool. I loved, Caesar's Legion faction. I didn't even play the DLC, which I need to like go pick up. And I lost time playing gambling for caps in the different casinos and winning enough to get thrown out. Like it was just, I don't know, man. I think they're all great. And 4, obviously, that's our home.
Yeah,
like,
4, like
I felt it.
4 is for us, and I'm gonna speak for us as like Bostonians. It's like you play that because you want to see what Boston is like, and it's like, oh, there's Fenway Park, Diamond City. Oh, actually, I'm going through one of the computers, and I'm like, holy crap! Like they're talking about my hometown, and like its history, and like, oh, holy crap! I'm walking around a lake that I used to run at, when I lived, when I used to go to Wakefield, and it's like all this stuff is just like it was more mind blowing that it's like you recognized all these landmarks that are in a video game, to the big scale that Fallout 4 is.
Dude, they had like the newsstand in Coolidge Corner. I'm like, I used to go get like food here with my friends.
Yeah.
Like they had a super mutant named Swan where you would
Oh,
go
the
on the duck
Swan,
boats
the
as like
best,
I'd go there as a kid with my like grandfather.
the best.
Like I'm like, this is near Emerson. And like I remember like even like outside of the city, like you said, like there was a huge, huge nuke that hit somewhere.
Yeah.
Again, and it was because it's in Framingham, and there's a what is it, National Guard base out there.
Yep.
Like they got it so good. Like like they just knew. Like I've never seen that type of detail, especially like okay, never. I don't want to speak like that because I know like again, Assassin's Creed historic, but like when you see like something like this that like I'm so familiar with, like
Right.
it was very. I appreciated it so much.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was the same with the other games. I never traveled to DC. I hadn't been to Vegas at the time, like
Mhm.
or but I know Good Springs is like 1 for 1, but like I haven't been there.
Right.
And this was somewhere that like I'm like, you made this decision because this is where this thing is located. Like it was so smart.
It was great. It was great. Hey, let me throw you a curveball. Fallout 5, you can pick 2 cities that it can be in. What major cities would you what cities period would you use?
Interesting. Also, they did Maine, which I haven't done yet. I want to go back to that because I love Bar Harbor.
Bahaba.
Bahaba. What's interesting to the lore? I'd love to. I mean, they already did. I mean, California seems like. I mean, it might be overdone, but I don't know if they do that now. I know they had like the NCR travel out east a little bit, but seems like a lot of action was happening there. I think too. It might be fascinating to have somewhere in Canada. So in the story of Fallout, it's a resource war basically, and China basically threatens to invade through Alaska. That's why you have Operation Anchorage, like a huge battle that took place. So the U.S. annexes Canada because they can't, like they're worried about it. So now Canada becomes part of the U.S. So I think being able to see kind of that side of things where you have like the threat or like whatever. Who knows if there's something on the other side of, between Russia and Alaska.
Right.
That's what I would do. Do you have something cooking?
I had 2. The first is Toronto. As a major metropolitan city that also has a lot of landmarks, like recognizable landmarks. So you can be like, oh my God, this is the CN Tower. Like it's cracked in half. Look how crazy this is, right? Toronto, which I visited a few times, and I love that city, by the way. Great city. It's my favorite city. And the second one for me would be, and I guess they kind of did this in 76 with the pit, but like a full like recreation of Pittsburgh to see how that city would survive. But that's more of a personal pick because I love that city. The pit I think is supposed to be part of like Pittsburgh, but I don't really remember because I didn't play a lot of it. But in like the continent, like in North America, those would be my 2 cities. Because I feel like
Chicago's iconic too.
Yeah, I feel like I was gonna say like maybe a Chicago. I mean, there's so many places really that they can do, and it feels like West Virginia. It feels like West Virginia for 76 because you're not like in a city. It's just like you're in the middle of West Virginia, and like that's it. That's the map. So that's also, I'll give kudos to 76 because that's also different from the other games.
Yeah. I have 2 very good friends actually I met playing Overwatch, and they're from West Virginia. Like they go to I don't think it's a 1-for-1, but I think they definitely did like true to that area.
Yeah,
because you're right. It's not just like, oh, we have like it's a location like all around. But I think there's so much lore to take from. That's why I think like having like the Mothman and like stuff like that is so cool.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, maybe like I don't know. I think there's a lot of opportunity there because never mind. But yeah, it's I don't know. I think it'd be cool, and I think getting Canada involved is like the play.
Yeah, I do too. Especially there's so much story behind it with Canada, and again, like it being annexed by the US, that it's like maybe you could show us, maybe it's the bombs have dropped. And if you want to do it like Western Canada, like Vancouver area, you do like that whole like Red Scare type thing. And if you want to do Toronto, or anywhere out in the eastern side of Canada, you do like the US, almost like a civil war or revolutionary war type thing where they're like fighting against the US and blah blah blah. Like there's so much you could do with it. But I guess we will never know because Fallout 5 is not coming out until after Elder Scrolls 6. So it's going to be
Nobody
Elder
wants
Scrolls
that nerd
6
stuff.
in about 2030 is going to be my guess, and you'll get Fallout 5 in like 2037.
We'll get season 2 before we get Fallout 5. We'll be all right.
We'll get season 76 before we get.
Just give us Fallout, the show, the game.
There you go. Fallout, the show, the game.
Made in Linux.
Mate runs exclusively on the Steam Deck 4. Speaking of, hey, well, speaking of the game, a little game was is going into a tech test starting today. I was not accepted to this one, but it's going to be rolling out to a lot of people. But Hades 2 is rumored to launch in early access later this month.
Hades 2.
Yeah, Hades 2.
Yeah.
So for those that don't
shocked.
know,
They didn't do this with one, right?
Yes,
one kind of snuck up. They
did a tech test with one, but it wasn't as big as it is now.
Mm-hmm.
So for those who live under a rock, Supergiant Games, who has made some of the best games, the best indie games you could play, Bastion, Hades,
Pyre.
I was thinking that's like the sporty one, right?
I loved it, dude.
And
so
there's one more, Transistor.
The best soundtrack.
Bastion is before Hades. Bastion was my favorite.
I played Transistor first. Oh no, Pyre then Transistor.
You know where I played a lot of Bastion? On my Vita. Shout out to the Vita Island. So Hades came out, was my like 2021 game of the year. I played so much of it. It is so good. It is one of the best roguelites you could ever play. They're coming out with a second. The first time that Supergiant Games has ever made a sequel. Hades 2. And now you play Zagreus' sister, the daughter of Persephone and Hades himself. And the story goes that Kronos, the Titan, has captured all the gods from the first game. So
Classic.
you are I'm gonna butcher some of these names, so I apologize.
I'll correct you.
Correct me. So you are Mel. I forget her full name. And you are raised a witch by Hecate.
A witch? Hecate.
That is not. Shut up. That is not.
It's into Kamaki's persona evolution. So I think she calls her Hecate.
Hecate. All right, that's what we're going with then. Who,
Hecate
by the
sounds
way,
like a drink.
Who, by the way, is voiced by the narrator of Baldur's Gate 3. So shout out to her. So
I love how you're like, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm like, I'm wrong. I'll correct you.
I love it. That's fine. So she's raised as a witch, and you basically are gonna go play Hades once again. And there's a bunch of different mechanics. There's like new powers from, Apollo, like is the god of the sun. And who else did they show? There was a god of fire that they showed that I can't remember that began with an H.
Hephaestus, god of the forge.
No.
Fine.
Nope.
No, I said fine.
Like, oh, fine. Right. I thought you said mine. I'm like, nope, no god.
No, I wasn't like.
So it's the tech test is out. You can only when you get accepted, you only have 5 kills of Hecate, who is like the first level in this tech test. So once you kill her 5 times, you're done. And they said after the tech test, they're going to launch it in early access. Your boy is buying it 100%. The tech test is only on Steam right now. So Steam, Windows, Steam Deck. Well, you can't run a tech test on a console because you have to go through PlayStation and Sony and Nintendo if you want to do it on all of them. You have to go through those guys by the time it gets approved, the tech test is over. and you just
NHL
launch
did
it
it.
into early access. So yeah, so Hades 2 coming way sooner than we thought it would. And Supergiant Games again did a stream today on their Twitch channel, and the game looks great. The music is just as good as the first game, if not a little spookier, because you're dealing with like witches and a coven and all this stuff. So, man, I'm a 1000% all in.
What do they need a tech test for? Because I feel like whenever I hear tech test, it's usually to test an online component. Is there one, or is there something else, or are they just using this as a marketing material?
I think they're using it to no. I think they're going to use it for
Hype.
feedback for a lot of their mechanics and see like what's
Ah.
working and what isn't working, or like what needs to be buffed. Like we won't see major changes, and I think it's built well enough that I don't even believe that it would need to be optimized that much, given if it's on the bones of the first Hades. I think it's some of it is probably marketing, like, hey, get in on this tech test. Everybody on Steam, you can play it for free right now. Wishlist it and play it, like that kind of thing. But I do believe that Supergiant will use a lot of the feedback.
They're so actually one thing, maybe I should post it to our channel. When I went to my first or second PAX, they did a concert, and I got to meet like the voices. I got to meet like Darren Korb and basically the voice of both singers. So Darren Korb and I forget her name, but she's like the main voice in Transistor, and then the narrator in Bastion. And they signed like a poster for me, but I was in the second or third row and I filmed the whole friggin' concert, or at least most of it. And I have it hidden on my YouTube. I should just upload it to ours, because I think that like it was such a cool experience. And if like, and I'm just saying that because I'm like, it's not used, and I'm like, the more you talk, we're talking about Hades and stuff. I'm like just recalling like Pyre and all that stuff. Like it's been like they're a special studio.
Truly.
Like, how do you only make good games? And like for Bastion to be your first, and that's some people's game of all time, it's incredible. Like, it's okay to stumble in the beginning or have games where you look back and you say, yeah, like could have done better. Have a studio where that's never happened.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Independent studios, man, they're not pushed by anything but just making what they want to make.
They were so good. I remember, when they were there, they were promoting Pyre with a booth, and I played they had a single player and I did a multiplayer, and they had one kid who was running the table, dude. Like, so Pyre, you have to basically like get like a ball and use like different people into like the opponent's Pyre. That's how you get points. So it got to the point where they brought in like developers. This kid won against one dev, and then they brought in like one of the audio guys, and he ended up winning. So they had to bring in like the heavy hitters to take him down. It was so cool. It's like they had a couch, kind of like tape to tapes booth, but with like magic sports. It was a really cool atmosphere too, and that sold me on them. I just thought it was so cool. And they were like, people would come up and cosplay, like someone dressed up as the girl from Transistor, and they were like taking pictures with her. And,
That's
like,
cool.
It was. I don't know. It seemed cool. I hope they go there again.
My one PAX regret is that we didn't get Persephone's voice actor's autograph last year for 23, but I didn't want to wait in line with those stinky Genshin Impact nerds.
But that's me.
Well, you didn't want to wait in line with them either.
I know.
So,
it's like Obi-Wan. Of course I know them. That's me. That's me.
This is the stinky nerd you're looking for.
Yeah, right. Those weebs are my people. No, I don't play Genshin. I should though. But
no, you probably should. You probably should.
There's another game coming out that we're both very hyped for. It's a big game, but it's this little cat.
Little kitty.
Little kitty in big city.
So Nintendo had an indie direct, a Nindy direct, if you will. 2 games. I came out of that saying I cannot wait to play this. The first, Big Kitty Little City, which 1000% we're covering on this channel. I don't care who likes it or who doesn't like it. I am playing as a little kitty in a big city, and no one is taking that away from me. Stray walked so little kitty can run. Okay. Secondly, there is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle roguelike game coming out.
Nani?
Yes. Get the Nani's non. It is hold on, let me pull up the name. It is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Your boy screwed it up. Splintered Fate. And what happens is
That name.
What?
That name is so good.
It is in the old, not the old style. It is in like the 2011 style of turtle. It looks great. You basically, it is a roguelike game, so you're gonna do your run. You pick your turtle, you do your run. They all obviously play differently. Raphael with his size will be able to do critical hits more. Like Donatello has the range. Leonardo's probably like your all-arounder, and then Mikey is probably your like speed attack type guy. You do your run, you get through as many levels as you can, you level up, and then you do it all over again. What makes this one different? You ask, Wobble Plays. Well, let me tell you, 4-person co-op. It is a 4-person co-op roguelike Ninja Turtle game. Console timed exclusivity on the Nintendo Switch. So between Little Kitty, Big City, and Splintered Fate, I loved this Nintendo Nindy Direct. I loved it.
I'm looking at pictures of it. It reminds me of like the Dead Nation top-down style. And it's interesting. They're from a company called Super Evil Megacorp, which is a sick title.
Great.
I don't know if they're the dev or the publisher, but they've only done a handful of games. Or at least they're, only promoting a few. They've said they've been around since like 2012, so I'm sure they did like, not their own, like, maybe working on other ones, but this is like really cool. Their art always looks amazing, just from what I've seen. And they also have one, like they're working, or they did a game with like Netflix. So again, I haven't, don't know a lot about them, but like they look super interesting. They've got a lot of experience over like 10 years. And it's cool to see also too, like this variety of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games. I feel like when you get a property, people just kind of like see like, oh, this works, we're going to do this. But like recently we got like, Shredder's Revenge. Now we have this out, there's other ones coming down the pipeline. So
yeah, I mean, Rise of the Ronin has been talked about on PS5 or shown like a teaser for PlayStation. Like everyone, when you think of Ninja Turtles, everyone says, give me side-scrolling arcade game. Give me Shredder's Revenge. Give me Turtles in Time. Give me 91 Arcade. And like, that's fine. But it's so great to see the Ninja Turtles doing something different.
And Outright Games as well has Mutant Mayhem one. I stopped myself to check online to be like, it's like, can I? But I want to include them because again, then they're borrowing from the newest movie, which is going to be great. So yeah, so it's just cool how a property has so much diversity in what type of experience you're going to get.
So not only are we getting different kind of games, we're getting different kinds of art styles of the same IP. So Shredder's Revenge was that classic 80s Ninja Turtle arcade looking experience. Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, obviously taken from the movie, kind of the like almost claymation feeling look, right? Like computer animated, but like it has its own style. And then you have this one, Splintered Fate, which looks like it was taken straight out of the Nickelodeon series from like, again, I say like 2015, but I'm not 100% sure because there were like 3 different ones at the time. And yeah, it looks really exciting. And Big Kid, like we kind of glossed over Little Kitty, Big City. I'm actually really excited for this game. It looks stupidly cozy. It looks like a game that is just going to be a lot of fun to play. And in our catchment area, because I think all 3 of us, I'm going to speak for Court on this one, I think our kids are going to love it.
Oh, yeah. I like those kind of games. It's like, it seems like more exploratory because so my daughter's like, still working on mechanics, which is good. Jumping and moving a direction at the same time is sometimes tough, but this seems like the perfect game to like continue to work on that. Much like outright games are very accessible for younger audiences, this one seems like too, and I just referenced that because the last game she played was PJMS. So I don't know, I'm gonna show it to her. I'm sure she's gonna love it, and we'll goof around with it.
Yeah.
And when she's in bed, I'll get to goof around with it myself on my own without having to try to tell her what to do.
I don't think it's like a walking simulator type game. I think there will be a bunch of stuff you can do with it. But I'm looking forward to it, and I think it's going to be a big hit. And again, I think we, as dads, have the perfect demographic to play it, because who doesn't want to walk around as a little kitty cat, a little kitty in a big city? Some would say. Can I throw a game at you real quick that is coming out in June that I am really excited to play? It's called crap, it was just on the tip of my tongue. Hold on. Keep the glove up. Keep the glove up.
I got it.
All right. It is called
I'm waving them off.
Wave them off. It is called Sushi Bot. Nope, that's not true. It's called Rolling Hills Make Sushi Make Friends.
What? Wait.
It is called.
What is that title?
Rolling Hills Make Sushi
colon.
Rolling Hills Make Sushi Make Friends.
This is my kind of title. I already know. Oh my gosh.
You are basically a Game Boy making and serving sushi to people. And can I tell you something? I'm in.
This art looks amazing.
The art looks so. It is such like cute little like chibi art. I'm just all in. It looks fun and it looks cozy, and it like is giving me kind of Dave the Diver feels without the actual diving part, and more of the serving. Like Dave the Diver and like Cook Serve Delicious had like a robotic child, and this is it. And it just looks cute. It looks fun, and it's coming on Game Pass, so you can play it and not lose anything other than maybe a couple hours if you don't like it. And I saw it on Twitter, and I had to write it down, and then I lost my list, but I had to make note of it somewhere in this huge Chrome of mine, this huge dome. And I was like, I have to play it. It just looks, again, another like cozy type fun looking game.
It's fun when these types of directs come out where it's not like a big, like, there's no huge titles, or like, it's just because I saw Twitter, like I knew about Little Kitty Big City, but like I don't know if everybody did, but everybody does now. And like everyone's talking about games like this, and it's just nice to see like, these ones get attention instead of just like Call of Duty's coming out, where are we dropping boys? Like that type of stuff. Yeah,
I love indie games. Like I know the AAA games are what fuels the industry, because your GTAs and your maybe not Suicide Squad, but your GTAs and your Call of Duties and your NBAs and Maddens, and that's where everyone makes their money. But man, you can find a lot of fantastic indie games that we'll be covering on Three Dads and a Console very shortly.
Yes, sir.
You can find a lot of indie games that play really well and are a lot of fun, and they'll never be on the billboard or they'll never have ads in the Super Bowl, but you will have a much better time with them. The problem with indies is everyone's an indie developer, and on platforms like Steam and the Switch, it is just, you're just bombarded with games all the time. So, and I think we've talked about this on an episode before, where it's like, where we use the term roguelike, and it was like things just get lost in the muck of like, there are 50,000 roguelites on Steam. How do you actually find one you enjoy, and not the other 10 that are just like knockoffs of whatever?
You listen to us. That's how. Don't listen to anyone tell you what to do, but you should listen to us tell you what to do.
Yeah, you should listen to us. We have played multiple Fallout games. Why wouldn't you listen to us?
We've played all 3 new ones. We didn't play the first 2 and the other one that I forget the name of.
What other one?
I don't know. It's like I hope our Canadian friends enjoyed the TV show Fallout.
Oh my god. Horrible. How long have you been sitting on that one?
Like a few days. I was Fallout.
This is what I put up with on a
I hope this doesn't cause any fallout between us. Fallout New Vegas. Oh.
So if you are interested in hosting a podcast, I have a brand new opening come out. 3 ads on a console at gmail.com. Send your auditions. use the coupon code Daddy Magic in the email, and you only have to send me half the tape.
Send us your mixtapes too if you're on SoundCloud.
You'll drop those SoundCloud links in the chat.
Oh, that was funny. Sorry, I've been saving that for 3 days. I wanted to end the podcast with that.
Oh my gosh, Fallout. How dreadful. I'm so glad Court wasn't here to hear that. Oh my gosh. This is what we do.
So you know it's an American developer, because someone in the Canadian would be like, our folks are gonna say it differently. Like, no man, Fallout.
All their milk is gonna be in a bag.
Instead of
instead of a container,
radiated Smarties.
That's right. That's right. Also, coming to 3 Dads on Console, by the way, is we will have reviews of Foot Gun, a game called Foot Gun, Contra Operation Gulag, which I did play a little bit of, by the way, and it is just a modernized version of Contra.
Ooh.
It is still very hard, and you can play it with a health bar, or you can be a scrub like me, think you're a bad boy, and just play where it's normal Contra, where one bullet kills you and you start over.
I don't like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And our first episode of our MLB The Show Pirates franchise is almost done. I did the voiceover. I just have to cut it up. Voicing over baseball games is much harder than you would think.
I'm excited to watch it though,
because I can do play-by-play live. I've done it on my stream before, but like cutting it and doing it so it's not 4 hours long is insane. It's very hard. But
also make sure to check out our YouTube, because Pez has been like editing all the pack stuff, and he's basically, I sent it late. Oops. But we have a great interview that went out with some folks from Ilphonic on Killer Clowns. It's so interesting and so good, to the point where people have reached out to us asking to use our interview in their content, which blows my mind. And it's very flattering and humbling.
Anytime we get over like 4 views, I am surprised, because I figure like 3 of them is going to be me under the 3 Dads one, making sure everything worked, and then the 3 of us on our own personal ones, like watching it at work on mute in the background. So to see this one is probably, I think maybe like 400-ish views. I don't know.
It's really cool. And fun fact, the camera died during it, and Pez had an audible immediately to his phone.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, and you can, I talk about it I reference it in the interview. So it's about a 20-minute interview. We sat down with the chief creative officer and design director of Ilphonic. And they are publishing this game and working with TerraVision Games to create Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the game. We've talked about it on the show a bunch, but this one is gaining traction because they talk to us very like openly and freely, not only about the game, but some of their other games and what they learned from Predator and Ghostbusters, and how they took a lot of that stuff and put it into this game. And they briefly talked about like how some of the weapons are used, and hinted at things like progression and other maps that are going to be coming. And it seems like there hasn't been a lot of coverage on this game, or Ilphonic just hasn't been doing a lot of interviews on this game. And for some reason, we were right place, right time, and they gave us everything. That I did not cut a single thing out of that interview. That is an virtually unedited, unfiltered interview with them. They gave us 25 minutes of space. Like, we were the only ones to interview them that whole day. And we were like interview so 7, cool. Right? And, good on Court. We were bringing up things like sound that wasn't talked about before. So we were, it was great to just have a space also have a space because we got to sit down and it wasn't on the floor to just let them talk about their game. We connected on our love for the 80s and just like rode with it. And I think people have really enjoyed it. And it's something that we don't do a lot. And again, I don't think this game is getting covered as much as it probably should. Because I'm not seeing a lot of stuff from like Kotaku and IGN and blah, blah, blah. But horror creators, game horror creators are reaching out and saying like, hey, that interview was really good. Can we use it? Can I use it in a video? And it's like, sure, credit us, drop our link in the description, like fine. No, you cannot get our unfiltered gameplay. Sorry. I mean, all the gameplay was there. All I did was make it bigger so you're not looking at the corner of a monitor, right? Because like Waba had to do it on his shoulder using his GoPro right here. So like when we're at
and
PAX,
they were cool with it too. That was like really neat. They're like, capture it however you can, but like we all wanted to play.
Yeah, like and that's what it's like at PAX. It's like, you know, normally if there's a demo, so normally how this works behind the scenes is I do all the audio, I do all the AV, Wab and Court do all the on-screen stuff, like you're interviewing, your FaceTiming stuff, because it's just easier for me to handle all the equipment. But when there's a game we want to play, we then go with the GoPros and Waba puts it on his backpack. And so it's like, maybe we'll get a full shot, maybe we won't. We'll just make it work because we
and the screen goes black after 2 seconds, so I can't like it's whatever.
Oh my gosh, that thing the first last year in 2023, I thought it died, and I was like, I don't understand it. And in one of our interviews, you can see me shaking it. Dude, so I was like, I don't understand what's happening. And then there was another one where I kept pressing the button because I thought it was like asleep, and it just like kept taking pictures. I was like, man, I don't understand what I'm doing.
We'll get some better stuff, but I don't know. It's just cool, and a lot of indie coverage on this, and I think much like the movie, I think it's going to be a very like cult classic type game, and you're going to have a lot of very dedicated people love it. And I mean, I don't know. It was such a cool experience. We got to talk to one of the Kyoto brothers.
It was a very cool experience. And Ed Chiodo, we tried to guerrilla an interview and it didn't work. But like just being able to talk to a creator of the actual IP was super cool, and he was super nice. And you know, we just kind of shot the wall, if you will.
Yeah, it is kind of nice to be able to like talk to somebody about their game without having it be coverage too. Yeah. Like there's like just not like being in the moment, but like I don't know, cool experience.
Yeah. So again, go check it out on our YouTube. We have another interview with Eka, the co-founder of Mojikin Studio, that Waba sat down with for like about 8 minutes. Talked a lot about A Space for the Unbound and kind of the inspirations of it and the personal struggle from it and like what cats mean and why that was so profound in the game. So please go check that one out as well. That was one I'm also really proud of.
They're so cool.
Because we stumbled upon him. Like when we went in 2023, we met the people at Toji. We talked to them. We played a little bit of Coffee Talk. I think we played a little like, I think it was called Valaris Tactics. Like we played a couple games. We talked to one of the writers, Junke of Coffee Talk 2. We talked to the community manager at Togi. But this guy founded a studio that Toji then absorbed. And him and like his like team of 3 were the sole creators of A Space for the Unbound. So being able, I think what I like the most is being able to probe creators of like how they came up with this, right?
Yeah.
And with A Space for the Unbound, like you're in this guy's head figuring out like what were the personal stories that made you and your people write this. With something like Killer Clowns, it's just connecting with someone from an IP like that you saw as a 10-year-old that scared the bejesus out of you. And it's like, where was your rope when it came to this? Was it you can only use these assets, or it was like, make sure this guy's in here, but go nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And just like being able to pick a creator's brain and then see it in front of you and knowing that you played it and you connected with it. It's just cool, man. It's cool.
I was geeking out. Cool. I don't know. And also too, like their merch sold out on like day 2, and I like got to get like I don't know. They're so good. I just love that like the creators I love are getting their shine.
I love Toji so much.
They're so good.
I love
and
them so much,
supportive.
and they're so kind, and like they come to Boston, and it's like, you know, completely different time schedule for them, and they're always so nice and so kind, and they're great. And again, they're this little Southeast Asian studio that is just putting out bangers.
They're crushing it. They're awesome.
Bangers.
But we also have this one I'm gonna be embarrassed by. One of our favorite games, tape to tape. Some capturing of some
It's gonna be great.
big-
It's gonna be great. That one is gonna take a little longer.
If you want to skip that video, you guys can.
That one is gonna take a little longer. So that wasn't a we didn't do an interview with Hassan because we've had him on the show a few times. And I would like him to come back to talk about the roadmap. But him and Waba played one-on-one after Waba was chirping a lot and got absolutely torqued. And so I'm gonna lay the video out like we're watching it live on TV, and I'm gonna commentate it, and we're gonna have a good time. So
don't do that. Okay, look forward to that. I'm gonna delete that video. All right,
it was fun.
Any final thoughts for the folks before we say goodbye?
No. I mean, we just have a slew of stuff coming, and I really hope that people enjoy it because I enjoy going to PAX, and now that we have 2 under our belts, like I'm really excited for 25 when it's going to be in May. I'm a little worried that it's in May because it already smells in March. So if we have a very humid May, I am a little worried it's going to be Stink City. But what are you going to do?
My final thought is Bruins are going to beat the Leafs in the first round of the playoffs.
Oh, give me a game prediction.
Bruins in 5.
I Bruins in 6.
I don't think it's mathematically, legally, or ethically possible for the Leafs to beat the Bruins in the playoffs.
I have Bruins in 6. Some dork on Twitter was like, how can you be afraid of this? And he showed like the Bruins lineup and like, oh, it's JVR stuff. And I was like, homie, the Leafs are 0-6 against the Bruins this year. Like, why don't you pump the brakes / accelerate and drive off a bridge?
Yeah, but they're so tough. They got Revo.
Yeah, Ryan
Reeves. We have a Trent.
Seventh player award winner, Trent Frederick. Whoever voted on that, go to a new fan base. Should have been Danton Heinen. Go to a new fan base. It should have been Danton
Heinen. PSA 10 value going up to the moon. So we'll be talking more hockey. If you don't like Bruins, we're sorry. Also, if you do like the Leafs, sorry.
Yeah, if you like the Leafs, suck it. How about that? It's playoffs, baby.
Half our listeners gone. Thank you folks very much for your time and attention. YouTube.com/3dadsandaconsole, 3dadsconsole.com. We miss you. We appreciate you, and we'll talk to you soon.